Sharon, thank you. Good morning. My name is Tom Labange. I'm going to chair this meeting until my colleagues arrive. This is the Trade and Tourism Committee. Madam Clerk, open the meeting.
Did you want to consider item 1?
Yes.
Okay. The Board of Harbor Commissioners submits for council approval by ordinance a grant of easement deed from the City of Los Angeles and the City of Long Beach, acting by and through their respective harbor departments. The
Great.
grant would be to the Alameda Corridor Transportation Authority for bridge and highway purposes. 3 parcels located in the vicinity of Pacific Coast Highway and Alameda Street in Council District 15. ACTA will then reconvey the 3 parcels to Caltrans pursuant to an MOU previously executed.
Super. City of Long Beach already approved this?
Yes.
The Port of Long Beach, okay. So how are we doing?
We've already approved it at Board of Harbor Commissioners, so we're just waiting for council approval on this. And this is just an administrative transaction that needs to happen to put property rights back in the right hands after the construction of the corridor.
After this is all done, there's no construction, there's no...
No.
Okay, good.
This is after the fact. This is all the construction's already been done. It's just putting the property rights back in the right
And just
hands.
for my information on the corridor, how many rails are from Washington Boulevard south?
From Washington Boulevard South,
Just 2 rails?
no, I believe it's 3 rails.
3 rails. Oh, good, okay, good. And you're okay with it?
I'm great.
All right,
sir.
so ordered. Thank you. Next item.
Item 2, the Board of Harbor Commissioners submits for approval.
We want to hold that one, okay? For Ms. Hahn, because I think Ms. Hahn is on her way.
Item 3, the Board of Harbor Commissioners.
Say it again. Yeah, we're going to hold 2, and item 3 is next.
Okay, under item 3, the Board of Harbor Commissioners submits for council approval the 3rd amendment to the permit with Eagle Marine Services, a container terminal operator, to allow Eagle Marine to benefit from the exemption from the wharfage fee for transferred merchandise that recently was amended into the tariff.
Eagle Marine's permit does not allow them to benefit from new changes to the tariff. It basically locks in the tariff at the year that they entered into their contract. So in order to allow them to benefit from this business incentive program, we had to change their permit. And the business incentive program basically allows rail that comes from the Port of Long Beach to be loaded into the Port of Los Angeles at a discount. So we encourage rail activity at the ports by using each other's rail services.
Long Beach has a reciprocal agreement?
Yes, they do.
Good, okay. City Attorney approved it?
Yes, they did.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? So ordered.
Okay.
Okay, that's item 3. Now we're at item 4.
Under item 4, the Board of Harbor Commissioners submits for approval by ordinance amendments to the tariff relative to the Clean Trucks program in the Clean Air Action Plan, specifically to clarify that any acquisition of an alternative fuel truck without funding by the 2 ports or the AQMD shall not be subject to the Clean Truck fee. The CAO has submitted a report and recommendation for approval.
John Holmes, Director of Operations for the Port. Actually, this is a great item because what it does is that the agreement that we reached with CARB and AQMD frees up the first $49 million of the 1B money to use for trucks. So we reached an agreement with CARB and AQMD. It frees up $49 million. This puts 1,300 more 2007 compliant trucks on the road. The process is ongoing. They've done the
When you say 1,300, how soon is 1,300?
1,300 by the end of this year.
In the next 90 days?
It may go a little bit because
Yeah.
of some of the trucks. A good portion of the trucks, about 500, are LNG. And so the LNG trucks, because of manufacturing delays, it may go till April of next year. In fact, CARB has allowed an extension of their rules for those people who are participating in this program where they can drive their existing trucks till they get their new trucks.
Now, are these brand-new trucks or conversion of old trucks?
These are brand-new trucks. The amount that the companies would get would be a $50,000 incentive on a diesel and a $100,000 incentive on an LNG truck.
Right. Now, I'm not totally familiar with the trucking industry, but Peterbilt still makes trucks?
Yes, sir.
And Freightliner?
Freightliner,
Kenworth? And do they all, they're all into the program?
all of the major trucking companies are into the program. As a matter of
Right.
fact, we're the shining light of the trucking industry, where truck sales have dipped over 30% every place else. They're actually up 25% in the
And how's Long Beach doing on this?
Long Beach is, this is a participating agreement with Long Beach, CARB, South Coast Air Quality District, and the Port of Los Angeles. So
Right.
we're in lockstep on this. This is a great program.
Good, okay, thank you. Anything else? Recommend approval. Next item.
The next item is airports. The last item is another harbor-related item. Would you want to continue with harbor, or do you want to go on with?
Well, I think we go to the harbor since they're sitting here.
Okay, under item 6, the Board of Public Works submits a transmittal report, and the Bureau of Street Services submits 2 reports for council approval, recommending amendments to the municipal code to provide for the issuance of annual overload permits, as opposed to single-trip permits, for the transport of sealed intermodal containers used in international commerce on the Port of Los Angeles designated heavy container corridor, and to be consistent with other state and local permitting regulations.
Okay, and also as you make your report, whoever's going to speak, what is the heavy container corridor?
Good morning. My name is Marcel van Dijk, Port of Los Angeles, and I'm a marketing manager. The heavyweight corridor is a dedicated street close to the port on city property that we can do overweight trucks and up to 95,000 pounds, all combinations. We had the city ordinance had a daily permit, and we want to change that to an annual permit because the city of Long Beach, the county, and the state have all annual permits, and the daily permit keeps us a little bit behind in competitive.
Oh, it's a good idea.
Yes,
Now, you've been reading the papers lately?
yes,
You see where Water and Power had all these breaks for their pipes?
yes.
Any of those trucks been on those streets?
I don't know if that was directly related to the pipe
I
or
know,
maintenance.
I'm teasing you a little there. I'm teasing you a little. So this is a good idea, right? Simple?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. And is there any cost differential from buying one-time permits to annual permits?
Yeah, if you annualize a daily permit, you come up to $11,000. Or if you do that on a daily basis, or sometimes two or three times a day. And an annual permit is, I have to.
Tom Carabello, Bureau of Street Services. Daily permit is $14. The problem is a lot of the companies aren't pulling these permits, so we really don't see much of this money. They're really running illegal. But for the yearly permit, it's $85, and we feel that it would be more attractive, and folks would actually pull these permits for $85, especially when they have to spend the amount that the gentleman just stated.
Is there one street use inspector committed to the Port of Los Angeles?
There's 2 of them.
2 of them? Are they reimbursed by the Port of Los Angeles? Or
No, actually not for the port. They're in the port area.
or port area?
Yeah.
Would that make sense for the future, at least? Because some departments have said, look, we need certain other city agencies like the inspector from the port to help move stuff or be the contact to be there. Maybe
We
it's something
do
to-
have a section in our division that deals strictly with overloads and these type of permits. And also in cooperation with LAPD and CHP, we also do some operations down in the port.
Is there enough of work that there should be a dedicated?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's something we should look about. Maybe Ms. Hahn's office could look at that. So, Mr. Holmes?
I think that's a great idea, sir, and there has been other.
Because I think you did that with the fire chief, right? You did a fire
We
chief,
have,
yeah.
We have an assistant fire chief on
Right.
staff, and it's
Right.
been, he's been a great asset to
Right.
us. He's sort of a connection between the port and downtown fire department, and we've done that in other areas where if we feel we can get dedicated services and better
Right.
service, it works for both the port.
And the agency. So would you got that down so Ms. Hahn could have that as a initiative, and I'll second the motion, or whatever it takes. But that's a good idea. So this is positive. Where are you from, Marshall?
Originally from Holland.
Holland, right. You got ice skates?
We did that, yeah. And tulips and wooden shoes.
Oh, good job, all the way. Yeah, that's good. Thank you. That's the beautiful thing about Los Angeles. We're from all over the world. All right, so we'll move this forward. Thank the Port of Los Angeles, and work safe.
Mr. Chair, the committee should probably recommend that the item go to the city attorney to prepare a draft ordinance consistent with the recommendations.
Very well. So we'll do that. I'll recommend that. Okay, thank you. Tom, let me know on the other thing, too, so I'll help push that. Okay, so just give us a recap, Sharon. What have we covered so far?
Mr. Chair, you've covered 1, 2.
2 we held, right?
Well, 2 is on hold. 3, 4. You have 5 left to do, and you've just finished number 6.
Great. So let's take up number 5.
Under item 5, the Board of Airport Commissioners submits for approval the Fourth Amendment to the concession agreement with DFS Group for the operation of the duty-free shops at LAX.
Thank you. We're joined by the great chairwoman of the Trade, Commerce, and Tourism Committee, also great Californian. Please welcome Janice Hahn. I'm going to turn the meeting back over to you. Is that all right? Okay, thank you. Oh, thank you. Want me to continue? You want to take a break? Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. We just started this item 6.
Thank you. Thank you for covering for me, Councilmember Blunt. I was actually down in the harbor attending the Chamber of Commerce State of the Port address where distinguished executive director was giving her message.
Great.
So I left right when she got up to speak so I could be here to deal with port issues.
Very good.
Okay, let's
Yes,
carry on.
we're looking at item 5 concerning the amendment to the concession agreement with DFS Group for the operation of duty-free shops at LAX.
Hi.
Good morning.
What this does is give us oh, I'm sorry. Debbie Bowers, Deputy Executive Director at Los Angeles World Airports. And what this item does is extend the duty-free contract with DFS till December 31st, 2012, with 2 one-year options. And in so doing, it reduces the MAG because we have reduced the square footage,
Oh,
mainly because we have put the larger part of that square footage in the packages, the 4, 5, 7, and 8
Oh,
packages,
okay.
because we think it can be better utilized with
okay.
non-duty free. And we can cancel the lease with a 30-day notice if
Okay.
we need the space for any of the construction projects that
Okay.
are going on. So it's very flexible, but it allows us. We also get a 2% increase in rent on the store in the Tom Bradley International Terminal, the current pre-security store. And so we thought it was a good deal all around, gave us some flexibility, kept our duty-free stable while we were going through construction there and in some of the other terminals where they're located.
So basically, you're extending the term for until 2012.
Yes, and that
You're reducing the MAG by $4 million a year
because
you've taken some of the space away.
right, and we figured out what the sales per square foot were, and so we just did a corresponding
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Because I mean, part of what I thought we were trying to do was maximize non-airline revenue during this time. So it seems kind of counterproductive, but
It would seem that way.
to an outside observer.
But and there is a reduction in the MAG. However, as traffic picks up, we anticipate that the 2% increase that we got on the percentage is going to more than make up for the $4 million in the
Okay.
MAG. And we've
Okay.
already seen an uptick on some of that sales. We also thought we wanted to take back some of the space because
Okay.
we did want to do something that was more logical long-term for
Okay.
the packages.
Okay. I like that you're thinking long-term.
Yeah.
Tell me how we are in terms of schedule for releasing the new RFP for the operation of duty-free shops.
We hope to do that. Probably it will be released at the end of the summer or late third quarter next year.
Okay, so that's on track.
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. Any questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just flashed, you know.
I'm sorry.
I just flashed. What if you had one of
Excuse
your...
me, would you like to clarify what that means?
That means like an idea. It's an
I'm
idea.
just thinking about people who are listening in to
Well,
this. They
that's all
would
right.
not know what
Well,
that
then
means.
they must not be thinking the right way, Miss.
No,
Hahn. I wouldn't think that.
You know,
But in the
I
observatory.
represent a lot of
I'm in the
people.
observatory in my district and saw a falling star yesterday morning. I sometimes
cool.
flash. on the situation there, is there any way to create like a 99-cent store type concept at the airport? Where, I mean, I always feel bad when we sell bottles of water for $5.50 or whatever it is, or whatever the thing. So talk to your folks. I'm not requiring anything. You just see if anybody came up conceptually with some idea that would be, everything under $1. I bet you it would turn people on. Now, it may turn them off of some of the others, but I think it's more important. Again, I don't want you to get this wrong, to turn people on than it is to not turn them on.
Well, two things is, one is that we can look at that concept. There
Yeah.
is a store that is in a lot of airports where everything is $10.
Okay, yeah, $10. So
That's
what-
close.
not
That's
$9.99.
close to $1.
$9.99 or under.
Right,
You know?
not the water. The
Yeah.
second is, as we renew the contracts or do the new contracts, we are going to have a cap on what they can go over street pricing in the airport. So I think you will see the prices come down, which we
Right.
think will encourage more sales.
Right. And you ever meet with Water and Power at all? They bottle water. I just think we should have our bottled water there. And
Well, lastly, Mr. Martin wanted me to tell you that we do have an RFP out that we're working on so that we can get post-security vending machines that vend only water.
Okay.
So we are trying to get that where it would be cheaper.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Okay, very good. And we motion to approve?
And by the way, as a former momentary chair of this committee, I think I got to ask you to support all the things that we supported before you got here.
Right.
So
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll approve this item, but I guess you already approved 1, 2, 3, and 6.
Right.
Would we like to go back? I know for sure I would like to revisit item 6. I had a couple of issues with that. So if you would like us to take back up 1, 2, and 3, just so we can have 2 votes on that? Okay. Why don't we take up 1, 2, and 3 again? Is that correct?
Item 6?
1, 2, and 3,
1, 2,
just
and
to,
3.
real quickly to
Okay.
approve. You want to make a
Yes.
motion, Tom?
yeah, I moved all of them complete.
Okay, thank you. And without objection, we'll vote on 1, 2, and 3. 6, I wanted to revisit. Okay. Now, this was about our overload permits, and there were some issues from some of our truck drivers that it was a little burdensome in terms of how they had to apply for permits. So we just asked that maybe you could go back and see if we could do something that was a little more accommodating to these truckers. Is that what's happened?
Yes, ma'am, that,
Can you tell me what you did
I think I'll
to?
let Marcel
Okay.
speak, but it's
Okay.
basically, yes, we've listened to you and
Okay.
came back with a solution.
Okay, good.
My name is Marcel van Dijk, Port of LA. It is about a permit issue that the city of LA
Right.
had a daily permit, while other agencies or cities like
Right.
Long Beach
Right.
had an annual one, and we
Right.
want to change that to an annual permit for the
Okay.
city of LA.
Good. Good. And how much would that annual permit be?
I heard $85 for an annual permit.
Okay. Let me ask, there was another issue there was a concern, again, I don't know if you guys talked about this before I got here, but there was a concern that this ordinance did not apply to exports.
Yeah, I
Is
think
that correct?
Yes, and you ordered to change the language.
Yes.
And
I ordered. I like the way you say that.
And that is done because
Okay,
it says
good.
something like inbound U.S. customs containers.
Okay, good. So now it will address exports, and that's in the language of the ordinance.
Yes.
Okay, good. How about the actual process of applying for this permit? Is it going to be a lot of time? Is it going to be something that's easily streamlined?
It is online.
Okay.
It goes directly to the Bureau of Street Services, and they can apply whenever they want.
Good, good. John, do you have anything else to add?
I have something to add.
Yeah.
When I was here,
You
I
already had this
another,
item.
I understand that, but
Oh.
I gave action
Oh.
and direction to staff, which they'll brief you later on. But up that chair right there was Inspector Tom from Street Use.
Yes.
and I came up with an idea which I'd like you to pursue if it works for you. The port seem interested. Just like in your leadership in the past, you arranged to have an assistant fire chief on staff. There would be a need that there'd be a street use inspector paid for by the port, but in a way on staff similar to that concept, so they could address this. John, you want to explain what the thought was?
No, I think it's the same thought that you've had in the past, which is if there's some way that we can have a better service, dedicated service, whether it be a fire chief or inspectors or somebody from building and safety, we're more than happy to look at, directly compensating from the harbor if it makes our job easier,
Right.
it makes it more
I
efficient.
think that makes sense.
So
I
look
like
with
that
the
idea.
public
Tom, that was
works-
an excellent idea.
Well, thank you very much, and your deputy's going to handle that.
We'll make something work like that. Very good.
Great.
I have one public comment on this. Jackie, you're the reason that I got interested in this issue.
Can I just ask a question too, just to clerk? I didn't miss that card, did I?
No, it was just.
Oh, good, okay, I didn't want to make a mistake, I feel terrible.
No. He didn't want to speak just in front of you. He wanted to wait for me. Okay, Jackie, you're the reason we're here. Does this make your life and your work more efficient?
I've been working with Gordon on this. I've reviewed the whole thing, and this puts it totally.
Why don't you put your name again on the record?
Jackie Mateer from Desert Express. And this puts it totally in line with the Long Beach and County permits. It's well written the way it is.
Very good.
It's addressed all the curfew issues, all of the daylight and daytime issues, and also the import-exports.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you bringing this to our attention, and look how quickly and well the City of Los Angeles stepped up to the table to tweak this ordinance to make it better for those who are in the industry that frankly moves the goods in and out of our region.
Can you explain what the process will happen? I walked in right
Yes,
at that point.
explain the process on how this works to apply for this.
For the permit, that you can now, instead of a daily permit, can
Well, I
ask for an
understand
annual.
that, but I mean, from this meeting on, when?
Oh.
can we get
Oh, that process.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, it will now go directly to the city council, I believe.
Yes, and the recommendation of the committee would be to approve the reports that have been submitted and forward them to the city attorney for review, and ask the city attorney to prepare a draft ordinance to reflect the amendments that have been proposed.
So the process in the city goes to the city attorney, they draft the ordinance, comes back to the city council, and then we approve it, and then it's law.
Is there a time frame for something like that?
You'd have to ask the city attorney that question. Sometimes things get stuck in the city attorney's office, but you have our commitment that we will stay on top of this and move it out as quickly as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Well, is there any way you could start giving annual permits, or do you have to wait till the ordinance pass?
No, we have to wait until the city ordinance is changed.
Okay, good.
Good question.
Thank you.
We'll do it as quickly as humanly possible. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
With that, Tom, would you make a motion to approve
I
this?
move.
I move this, and let's just put a call out to the city attorney to take a look at this and move it as quickly as possible so that we can approve this. Thank you very much. Okay. Is that it?
Item 2.
Oh, item 2.
Under item 2, the Board of Harbor Commissioners submits for approval.
I did 1, 2, and 3. You told me
This
we
is
approved
for-
1, 2, and 3.
This is ports of call,
I believe
fish
we did
market.
1,
2.
3, and 4.
Oh.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, it
Yes.
was item 4 instead of 2.
Oh.
Because 2 was held for your
Okay,
presence.
thank you.
So we're good.
Okay.
We're on track. You can leave the clerk.
Yeah. Item 2 is a request for approval of a replacement permit with San Pedro Fish Markets located at Burr 78 in Ports of Call Village. The permit would have a term of 5 years pending further development of the San Pedro waterfront project. Also pending on the council file is motion Han Cardenas, introduced on April 1st of this year, proposing that council ask the Harbor Department to provide an update on providing permit extensions to both the fish market and the Ports of Call restaurant. The CAO has submitted a report and recommendation for approval of the replacement permit.
Good morning. Mike
morning.
Galvin, Director of Real Estate with the Port of Los Angeles. The permit in front of you is a permit with San Pedro Fish Markets for a 5-year extension to make them even with everybody else that's out in Ports o' Call as far as determination in 2014. It's also to give them some stability during the next 5 years so they can plan better for their business. It also does a couple other things. It resolves a longstanding issue with trash in the overall Ports o' Call village area that they're going to handle for us. And it will also implement new city ordinances, including living wage, into their permits. So it does a lot of good things for the city and the tenant, and it will help the tenant plan better for the next 5 years.
Good. Anything you want to add to that? Good. Well, I appreciate this. Obviously, when I felt things were not moving along, in April, I guess I introduced a motion asking for the status of both the fish market and the Ports o' Call restaurant, the restaurant, to see what are the status of those leases. So what's before us today is for the fish market, which I'm glad to see. And is everybody happy? Okay, good. And I think this makes sense for 5 years. This is a long-standing, obviously, great business in the Ports o' Call village area. We've always believed that it should stay there and be enhanced. And I think this lease, as you said, brings up some good points. It's good for both sides. If there is some slim chance that we're able to begin redevelopment before 5 years is up, what's the contingency plan for this business?
If there was a slim chance that we were able to do that, we would be able to phase around it. The site is very large.
Okay.
And as you know, this business is pretty much the anchor to the site right now. And so
Right.
we would need to phase around it somehow if we did start construction before then and then work.
Was that mentioned when you did lease negotiations, or?
No, we didn't assume we were going to because of the other permits that are outstanding, and basically everybody else is up to 2014. And so if anything did happen before that, we assumed that the south side of Ports o' Call would be the first side that was redeveloped, which is the side that is under the village permit, which is on a month-to-month. So we could start over there
Okay.
as soon as possible, and then we could move into the north side after that. So that was the assumption on both sides.
Okay. What's the status on the restaurant, the Ports o' Call restaurant?
We sent a letter out to Mr. Wilson last week requesting a response to the draft that was submitted to his attorney in February of 2009. And to date, we haven't received a response back. There has been some verbal interaction between him and Deputy Executive Director Catherine McDermott, but there's been no formalized meeting set up at this point.
Okay, well, as you know, that my wish would be for us to really come to a meeting of the minds with Mr. Wilson and get that settled. And I know there's a lot of issues on his side, and I know there's a lot of issues on your side. So let's move forward and kind of get that one locked down too as well. I think that's also important because I think it sends a message too, because no matter what we do at Ports o' Call, which, by the way, it sounds like it's a major priority for not just me, but it sounds like the commission made that a priority when they approved the EIR. It's the community's priority to redevelop Ports o' Call. That's just such a symbol for our waterfront. But I think the message by, locking down the leases with the restaurant and the fish market, it just sends a message that these two entities are key to whatever we do there. Key. And it takes away any anxiety or any concern that the community has or that the leaseholders have that they're not going to be, a part of whatever we do on that waterfront. And I'm pleased with the fish market's lease, but I'd really like to urge you to get the other one as well. I think that's, again, it's very important. It's important to me, and it's important, I think, to everyone to know that the port has entered into a good faith agreement with both of these businesses. They are both the anchors for the waterfront. They are still what is really the only thing bringing people to the waterfront at this time. There's really not much else going on down there. So let's treat them with dignity and respect and kind of make that happen. I think that's key to moving forward. Speaking of moving forward, any staff preference on when we do issue an RFP for the redevelopment of Ports o' Call?
At this point, I don't think we're planning on doing something for the next year. We'd like the economy to improve a little bit. We went out for an RFQ for the marina development area, and we didn't get a response. And so we want to back up a little bit. let
I think
the-
they were also waiting for the EIR to be approved.
Exactly. So that will help. And then once we come up with an implementation plan for other key improvements that are going to bolster the Ports of Call improvements or the Ports of Call redevelopment, I think we'll be better positioned to put an RFP on the street that will get a good response from a good pool candidate.
And how are we doing with some of the issues that kind of can't wait until we redevelop it, like the roofs and some of the issues with the safety of the pedestrians, in the roadway? Are we doing anything that we sort of probably need to do between now and when we totally redevelop it?
The roofs issue has been addressed, and our C&M crews have been out there. This was probably in the last 6 months have gone out there and repaired the roofs that need to be repaired. The sidewalk situation is a little more difficult because the tenants aren't necessarily in agreement with the plan that we had to deal with some of the safety issues. I think they thought that was going to decrease the flow of traffic and the flow of foot traffic, and so they were a little bit concerned about that. So we continue to work with them to come up with a plan that will work for everybody.
What does that mean, continue to work with them? Are you like having regular meetings?
I believe engineering is having regular meetings with them.
Because
we can get back to you on
I saw that
meeting.
plan a long time ago, and I felt like we even were talking about doing it before the summer, and now the summer's passed, so it seems to me like this would still be a good time to. I think there's an accident waiting to happen there on the weekends with the pedestrian traffic mixing with the car traffic. So.
I think that's, that again is a safety issue.
Right.
Falls under my purview, and
Right.
I can promise you that we'll take a look at it,
Right.
see what we can do immediately,
Right.
not wait because we have other things.
Right.
I get that's your sense.
That's-
and
yeah.
Let's do the things we need to do
Yeah,
now.
that's what I'm feeling. And, as we all know, no one's ever going to be completely happy.
Right.
So we need to make some decisions that based on, your expertise too, in terms of just pure public safety.
I think we'd all hate to come in on a Monday and find out something.
Exactly. And again, I've been down there on the weekends when it's so crowded at the fish market and at the restaurant, and the way it's configured, it makes it very difficult for people to get from the parking lot to the restaurants. And it just, I know you know what I'm talking about. And I think
I
we
do.
could design something that would work better, I think, for everybody in this interim.
I was down there a couple weekends ago. It's really crowded on the weekends, and it's, people are walking all over
Yeah.
the place. We need to take a look at it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Labange.
Yeah, and if you go to some other venue, whether it's Disneyland or somewhere there's a lot of people, because safety's so important. You get out of your car, you have children, they're anxious to get to see
Yeah.
something, and they run. So see what others may be doing and see what can be done. Now, I don't think we've had the chance to meet, but how many people are in your team? And you're the head of the team, right?
Yes, I am. There's 22 people in the real estate division
Yeah.
at the port.
Is someone just assigned to the ports of call?
Yes, there is a person that has the responsibility for the entire Ports of Call, which involves individual leases and a master lease with the Taos
Right,
Airport.
and I just feel, and I remember as a child going to San Pedro, taking going to Pier Point Landing, which was on the other side, from taking the ferry over through the ferry, all that, before the bridge. It was an exciting thing to do, and it can be another exciting thing to do. And I think what we see, whether we're going to have drastic change, but I do believe it's a reset in everything that's going on, and more local establishments will be the benefactor of local travel and what is being done here. And when you say 2014 is a date, I just think that's a long time from now. So if you go to 2014, you minus 14 back to the year 2014 minus 2000 is 1986. It's like last century. I always go backwards from the
Okay.
date.
All right.
Again, this is something too
okay.
that I learned in astronomy.
Okay.
Okay, you go back from the date and you go, boy, where did it go? Like I started for the city 35 years ago. What's going to be 35 years from now? And how long is it going to take to get those 35 years? Is it going to take 35 years? Is it going to take, I think you should do what you can do, but know that you have a potential gold mine there that you could really figure out how to create an attraction. Melrose Avenue happened not because the city came up with this great plan. It happened because artists and other people came together and restaurants, and boom, and it always had a challenge of parking, but it became that. When the challenge came, they worked with Fairfax High. They got parking, they got a shuttle. Boy, it became a place to be. neighborhoods do bloom. So I just wanted to make a point, since it's the first time I think we've had a chance to meet, to see that someone's really, this is your job every day to make the Port of Los Angeles ports a call. The element that's not having to do with shipping, but the element that connects the community to the port happen. Because 2014 is still it's 5 years away. That's a long time. So I think we could try to do something. And I appreciate Mr. Holmes addressing the safety issue. So
Well, I think your point is well taken, and also what the councilwoman said is, people have a tendency to say, well, we're going to fix that up, so let's really not take a look at it. But we have real estate people and engineers and our Wharfinger office and our public safety people that all are involved in ports and call, and maybe what we need to do is have sort of a ports and call sort of team.
Team.
Yeah, you're right. I
Team
like that. Everything that you
Team
said, I
protocol.
had in my brain coming out just as you were saying it. So, Mr. Holmes, this is good.
Team Ports a Call.
Where everybody
Miss
works.
Carey working for you too?
Yes, she
Yes,
is.
See, that's good. She has great experience, great city family there. So yeah, just make it a team, because I find too, at this era we're going to go through another, and the port's a little different, but you're affected by the global economy. But to get things done, all of a sudden it's going to be 2010, and then it's going to be 11, and what do we really do? Make someone make it different, and whether it's even banners or redirecting a little roadway here or there, it just makes a splash to make people think and somebody care. And what Ms. Hahn said, to announce that these two beloved establishments are going to be there,
Yes.
helps soften the blow, because some
Yes.
people don't like any change.
Well, it is probably our single biggest connection to our community.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and not just not just to the local community. It is region-wide.
Regional,
People
right.
like Tom LaBonge talk about Ports a Call. Everyone has a memory there. Everyone has. We used to bring out-of-town guests there. So it's really signature. It's been one of my biggest disappointments so far, is that we have not been able to break ground on a redevelopment there. But I and again, this statement that I'm going to make has two sides to it. And one side is discouraging for people, but the other side gives us an opportunity. Tourism has now surpassed goods movement as the #1 industry in Los Angeles. That, again, the downside of that is, as we know, that affects, jobs out at the port. It affects revenue. But we have an opportunity. You all have a piece of property that is, as Tom called it, is sitting on a gold mine. And I don't think the port has ever really looked at it as really a revenue-generating opportunity. It's been more, we'll do this because it's the right thing to do for the community. But really, this is a piece of real estate. It may not be, moving containers, but it is a piece of real estate that, if done well, when this economy picks back up, we are sitting on top of a gold mine that will last for years to come. So really, I like the idea of Team Ports a Call. Let's all hands on deck.
Right.
For a
Team
redevelopment
Ports a Call.
of a vibrant, exciting Ports a Call that keeps the fish market, keeps the Ports a Call restaurant, but can do so much more. So
In Long Beach, do any of you grow up in Los Angeles area?
Yes.
I remember the New Pike when there was the roller coaster. Did you go on the Cyclone Racer?
I did.
Yeah. You got any tattoos? Yeah, okay, good. All right, I don't either. Anyway, that was right there. And even with the port of the city of Long Beach, Pacific, is that Pacific Avenue right there in the front?
Ocean.
Ocean Avenue?
Yeah.
The water did come to there, and then they, over the, the 50 years, they had a great moment once with Jesse Unruh, and he was telling me how he saved Long Beach with the various state laws that helped them put land back in there.
Right.
But even their redevelopment, that has taken, whatever Long Beach has done, they've done something right. It becomes an attractive location. We can do the same.
I couldn't agree more. Full speed ahead.
Thank you.
Okay, motion to approve this 5-year lease with the fish market. Is there a motion to approve?
moved.
So moved. It's been moved, and without objection, we'll approve it. Is that it? Okay.
Thank you.
Is anybody in the audience wishing to address this esteemed committee? Seeing none, we are now adjourned. Okay.